Welcome to Big Life Weekly Series, where we empower high achievers to break free from limits, unlock their natural potential, and live a big life. I'm your host, Robert Acosta, and each week we will explore the strategies, mindsets, and tools you need to thrive, not just in your professional career, but in every aspect of your life. Whether you're a leader looking for a better balanced life, an entrepreneur aiming for sustainable success, or someone ready to take the next step toward your best self, this podcast is your space to grow, reflect, and take action. Let's dive into today's episode. Hello, I'm Robert Acosta. I'm with Elias Tefarikis from Smyrna Labs in Maryland, United States. So, hi Elias, how are you?
Hey Robert, I'm good, and you? Thank you for having me here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So let's start right away so we can capture as much as possible to showcase your business. So, Elias, can you give us a 90-second overview of what your business does and why you got into it?
Yeah, sure. I'll try 90 seconds, but I'm the founder of Smyrna Labs. That's my for-profit agenda. And we help organizations bridge the gap mostly between innovation and impact. My work involves connected, like disruptive startups or impact startups with corporations that want to bring new solutions or new innovations. And sometimes for them, it's difficult to go to the market to find them. Or if they have the ability to find them, it's a little bit more difficult to them to work together with the startup. It's a very different culture in the corporation than in the startup. But if you combine those two skills, if we put it in those words, you can create a lot of value. So that's pretty much my work. I bridge those gaps with a lot of methodologies and process in order to have like successful partnership between corporation and startups. And also my non-profit agenda, I'm the president of Entrepreneur Foundation or Fundación Entrepreneur because it's based in Chile and South America. And we develop basically financial literacy programs and innovation education in Chile and other countries in Latin America. But mostly today it's my Smyrna Labs agenda, Robert.
Oh, that's amazing. And yeah, Latin America is a huge market, and there is a lot of entrepreneurs without support, I would say, or without the right support in order to thrive. So I think what you're doing is amazing. I really like this summary. So, what do you enjoy the most about your work in this industry?
Yeah, well, it's always different, because in one side, what I love is the passion of the entrepreneurs, this dream that they and I have as well, and many entrepreneurs around the world have, is that people using what you do, what you create, or your technology, or you have a problem in your life and you create something to, solve that problem, or at least to try to help them. And when you see that, and we see that people that it's 100% their agenda, 100% doing the work they need to overcome the problems, I love that. I connect very well because I've been there, for many years. And in the other side, I've been in the corporation too, And what I love in my work is that when you are able to, in some way, to translate, both worlds and put them to work together. It's kind of funny that, especially in this time with so much technology, AI, and all the things going around, that at the end of the day, this partnership between a super duper startup, and a big corporation is not the problems. It's not about the technology. It's not about the money, sometimes the budget. It's just about how they align together and put the right people and the right strategies to work together. And I love to do that. I love to be the bridge, and also to be able to, to study like problems that I have just general ideas, and when you go deep into the problem, you are able to understand more, and especially to put this relationship to work together. That's I have fun doing that. I love it.
Yeah, I know you mentioned the word disruption, which is one of my favorite words, to be honest. Is the way I live maybe for 30 years in my corporate life. So, and I think that's something that you love to disrupt the. I think it's disrupt the mindset and break out to new possibilities and make people see things that for the first time they couldn't see before, right?
Yeah.
So in that way you're living, yes, you're trying to merge two different worlds there with kind of the same aim because they are both businesses, but how do you define success in your work you do with those two different kind of worlds?
Wow, that's a very good question. Well, I would say it's for me it's a mix, you know. In a very personal way, when I see like a happy client and a happy connection in terms of I was expecting that to happen, you know, now I have a new client or something. It's I'm scaling with this new corporation, or the impact that we are creating socially or climate speaking, you know. It's something is happening for me. That is success. Obviously there's other areas in terms of, you know, if you are selling what you need to sell, or I'm not saying that that's not important, of course, especially if you're in a business life, that it's something that you have to put on the table and be accountable of that. Because if you're doing a lot of good things but you're not selling, you're in a problem, of course. You know, it's like it's not in a good connection. But for me, success is that, you know, it's like good equilibrium between you know, doing impactful things in terms of the objectives we have in this partnership, especially with the startups and corporations, um, that my clients and the people that I have relationship at the end of the day, because this is not like, and don't get me wrong, this is not like a McDonald's to do like hamburgers and to do like thousand of them. You got people in front of you, managers or in a startup that want to, you know, achieve success together. So when you help them to do that, in my opinion, that it's great, and I love to do that, and I like it, and I think that's in my case that is success.
Yeah, seeing that win-win all the time, right? Rather than
Yeah, yeah. Because sometimes also you have like very interesting, you know, impact programs, but when, at the end of the day, if you're not creating impact in any capacity, you know, people is not getting. Let's say I have some opportunity to work with very vulnerable areas in like in Colombia or in South America and other places, and you're trying, for example, to do like easy things like easy in this day, like to connect them to internet to have like a better life. It sounds maybe for you and for me, you know, like the most basic thing, but for them, it's like a game changer, you know? Now they are able to schedule a doctor appointment or to have a WhatsApp call with, you know, a relative. And when you're able to do that, you see impact. You see impact in those families, you know? And I love that.
yeah, well, you mentioned my second most favorite word that is impact as well. So I'm just curious, what is the biggest problem or challenge you see in your industry of entrepreneurship, big corporations, and startups, and how are you solving that for yourself, your clients, or your referral partners?
Yeah, I would say in my industry, at least in this niche, because when people ask me what you do, yeah, of course, if we can put it like in broad words and very general, I'm in the innovation industry, you know, but innovation at the end of the day has many, you know, possible ways to achieve that.
Right.
I'm in the niche of corporate impact venturing, which is, you know, this connection between impact startups and corporations. And one of the biggest challenges for me is to really to create the ecosystem to make those connections works, you know, because again, for if you check like the, let's say, you know, let's be general here, but if you check like in the last 5 years, the 10 most top startups that have received like investment in the United States, in Canada, or in Europe, you will always see 100% of the cases a corporation invested in that startup. So it's and they do it for a reason. You know, they do it for a reason because it could be a good business, because it's a way to innovate for them, because it's a way to bring new solutions for new clients, or new markets that they are not exploring, or they are not doing something with that market. And that it's perfectly fine. But in order to do that, you have to make them work together. And in if we can put it like in maybe in funny words, but people think that in general, like the startups are the 100-meter runners, you know? They have to run fast because they don't have a lot of budget. They have to validate their idea or their product, and they have to move back fast. They don't have like 1,000 people to ask if what they are doing is correct. They have to, like take the smell, if we can put it on the and then go for it. And then the other side, you have corporation, which is more like a marathon runner. You know, they have the time, they have the money. If they have some, let's say, like a legal question, they can send an email and wait for 1 week for an answer. It's another, the times are different, and but if you don't create like a good way to connect those mindset and that time and the deadlines they have, they will never be able to work because it's not like you work like I tell you to do or this way or the highway. That doesn't make sense because in the other hand, corporation can't innovate with that mindset. Not 100% of the time, but most of the time, of course, there are like a lot of very interesting corporations that are doing a lot of innovation. Yeah, that's perfect. But in general, you need to bring this new idea, these new people, this new mindset in order to do that. So that for me it's the most relevant problem to create like bigger ecosystem and more let's effective ecosystem to put those conversations together. And to address in the work what we do is basically it's like building a platform of networks, and collaborations, and you identify the problem that the corporation is trying to solve, and in the other side you need to have partnerships with different sources of startups or solutions to put them to work together. That's basically what I do and the solutions that I have with them.
Yeah, it looks like it's not a way that the startups have to go into the big corporations environment or the other way around, but you build a new space, as you say, a new environment, so they can jump in that space and they can connect and they really, really work together. Otherwise, there are different worlds with a different
Yeah.
language, right?
And I think also, Robert, the mindset for this industry has to be a different approach. It's like, let me give you like a sport example. I mean, if you are the manager of like the head coach or for a super big team, let's say like Barcelona, Real Madrid, or something like that. And if the mindset is that if you lose 3 games straight, you're out of your position. That's it. So what really can you do in 3 games?
Right.
Almost nothing. It's like, but maybe like the board of members, they're trying to get like a very fast how do you say, like very fast like returns or success on this thing. If that is the mindset in general, the innovation inside the company is going to be very difficult to success because it doesn't work like that.
Right.
It works with a head coach, we can put it in those words, with a long-term vision. I'm not saying that to get like quick wins, but in the long-term vision, you are able to, process that strategy and to see what happens with these partnerships with the startups.
Yeah, so it looks like, yes, everybody talks about innovation, but you need a specific set of mindset in those two or different clients that you have in order really to work together. So, having said that, who is your ideal client and what significant outcomes can they expect when working with you?
For me, it's a corporation that it's looking to integrate innovation in their sustainability strategy. You know, some of the clients that I have sometimes have a problem that, yes, they are talking about impact every day. But when you see inside the corporation, you see the sustainability division here, and I don't know, very far away, the innovation area. So they are not conversations, on bridges uh, that can connect them, and in this even in the same corporation, sustainability, and I can understand why, they are focused on, the legal aspects in your country in terms of sustainability, uh, how to improve the strategy in order to what they do. That's perfectly fine and it's very relevant to do it. But maybe, and that is my approach, is like, have you tried like integrating some startups with sustainable ideas or solutions in order to help you to achieve the strategy that you have here? Um, and for example, in the couple, like 1 year ago, more or less, I was, working and helping one of the biggest companies in the concrete world. Is called Cemex, to help them to with the startups, of course, and with those solutions, trying to help them to reduce the CO2 emissions they have with the trucks they use to deliver the concrete bags, and they have many trucks, and those trucks in general are the drivers are people in Mexico with a very small budget, and they live like, if they do a trip, if they do like 10 trips per day, to put it in those words,
Mhm.
you get, I don't know, let's say $100 or whatever the amount they get, uh, but if you want to change that truck and you go to, and that person, that driver, knock the door of the bank and say, hey, look, my truck is, I don't know, 15 or 20 years old. I would like to change it. Can you give me a loan for an electric truck? Yeah, sure, no problem. How much it costs? I don't know, like $100,000. I'm sorry, well, I'm never gonna give you that. So for one side, in one side, you had a financial problem for this driver, obviously,
Mhm.
but also you got a problem of CO2 emissions for the big company that can't change those trucks. So at the end of the day, it's not a problem of the truck, of maybe the money. It's a problem of financial inclusion in this way, you know or a mix of that. So and we work with them, we approach the problem. Obviously it's a big problem to solve. It's still in the process to have different answers or different startups, and we were able to connect one startup that it's also piloting with them, putting like hybrid solutions, like electrical hybrid kit solutions, in order to retrofit or to change the way those engines works. That it's a way to approach that, but again, it helps. It helps, and the impact part in terms of your CO2 emissions could impact in the business of what you're doing, and also has a huge social impact with these drivers, that can obviously have a better truck and maybe other clients.
Yeah, I think more than ever, more people are really open to do, I really want to do something for the environment and really want to be social responsible. But as you mentioned in your example, there are some hurdles that they need to be helped with. So, nowadays more people are actively seeking solutions to achieve better outcomes. So, what makes you unique in the way you help them achieve those outcomes?
Yeah, well, what makes me unique, it's the holistic approach I have with the corporations or with the startups. These kind of relationships are not something that you create in 1 second or in 5 minutes. You need a long-term approach in terms of the strategy you have, how do you integrate your solution with the business, with the corporation, and also in the personal side, how you got to get to know the people. You got to get along with them, with the managers, with the solutions. You got to be very transparent in terms of the data you get. And if it's not working as a startup, you have to let them know. One of the typical problems you see is that the startup says always yes, and sometimes they don't have the capacity to do it. And I can understand that, but because you want to growth, you want to achieve new things, but you got to be very respectful with the corporation you have in front. So for all those things, in terms of my holistic approach, I would say it's what makes me unique in terms of this business.
That's amazing. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of coaching, a lot of consultants all over, and but a new mindset of people really looking for something different. So that's why it's very very important to know what we are doing in a unique ways, and that it's something that in this case corporations really are looking for. So let me ask you this question. What's the strangest or funniest incident you've experienced while working within your industry or in your business? Something that happened to you that you consider it funny and strange, maybe.
Funny or interesting. Wow. Um, let me give you maybe an anecdote for probably many years ago, but it's I think it's very I still love that example. More than 10 years ago, I was but the first company I was able to found with other friends and co-founder, and we create like board games at that time. Now they are digital as well, but at that time like board games, in order to uh, like teach or in order to learn entrepreneurial and innovation skills. I'm not talking about something like the Monopoly that you roll the dice. I'm talking about like a board game with a strategy and everything. And we spent like like a year at least trying to solve them. On I mean trying to create the game. And it was a because when you create a game, first you gotta have fun. If it's not fun, it's not a game. But also, that was like the first and most important part. And the second one, it was like to learn about the skills you're saying you have to learn, like mindset, investment, different elements related with that. So we got some public money, we got different things, and when we launched the product, we have at that time I'm talking about more than 10 years ago, we have problems with the printers. So we're supposed to have like I don't remember the numbers, but let's say like 1,000 games all ready. We have a stand outside of this big summit to sell obviously the games, and to get that opportunity. But like, let's say like 2 weeks before that, that was less than a month. The printer said, guys, I'm sorry, but I'm out of the business. I can't continue with the business, so I'm so sorry. I'm gonna close the store. I'm gonna close everything. So you can come whenever you want to pick up your things. It was like what we got this huge thing, with brands, sponsors, and everything, and public money. So, no, no, no. So, yeah, I'm so sorry. You gotta be there. I'm broke. Says the company. So we went there, and we have like spare parts. Like I don't know, like one tiny figure on. It was like what we can do, and we spent like countless hours at night just putting games together. In order to have like a nice day in terms of the launch of the product. And I think we were able to assemble probably like, I don't know, like 100 games or probably 200, which is nothing. It was like, and maybe we have more. I don't remember specific the numbers, but definitely we didn't have what we expected to have. And so for one side, we were saying, look, what happened if people, wants to buy this new product, we don't have them. Well, we try to create something like, like FOMO. Let's like, hey, don't worry, we're gonna have more. So give me your information, and we're gonna to send you the product, something like that. Hopefully, for that time, we sent a lot of game, but not all of them. We started to sell after that. But I think in my professional life, that was like a very very complicated moment, because I remember all the managers for the brand who they were putting money for this, and obviously if you don't have the product, that was it. And well, hopefully we were able to overcome that problem, and from that, then we learned how to do it better, and then we did other games, and then we produced in China, and then everything changed from that experience. But at that time, uh, it was very very complicated.
Yeah, I think that's a common denominator for to be an innovator or to work in innovation. You have to be open that something is gonna go wrong or something's not gonna go the way you intended to be because there is no history about what you're doing. You're innovating, otherwise you're repeating something that you know how to deal with. So makes sense that and you
Oh yeah.
learn. That's the idea. So in this area that I know it's amazing that you work in innovation that it's everyone wants that. So what do you see as the coming trends within your business in this connecting big with small companies and how are you staying on top of that trend?
Well, it's to be honest, it's difficult to stay on the trend today. Impact is a huge trend, but as many trends, now the you have different layers now. I would say if you can put it in those words, because at the beginning, I would say of the impact word, everybody was talking about impact. Oh, I do this impact. We have this with impact. We use that with
Mm,
impact. Okay, all right, okay. Let's don't overuse the word because that is not
right,
impact. And
right.
and also sometimes one of the things that I don't like is that you have different type of corporations, but sometimes corporations ask the startup to help them to achieve the impact of the numbers they need. But the corporation is not even um, don't have the capacity to do it yet. So don't ask the startup to do it for you because it's not a balanced relationship if we can say that. Today, what I see and the trending I trying to explore, it's something more like let's call it like impact as a service in terms of all right, you are doing a lot of things of impact. You have, if you're a big corporation, you have a sustainability division, you have people in the field, you got etc etc. But when you try to do it more in a specific niche in terms of bring the startups to work together, you got to do it for specific projects, for specific areas, maybe, and with very specific times. And that means for me that the trending is try to create more like fast and effective pilots with the corporation. I mean, it's so basic at the end of the day. It's like try faster, see what happens. Something good happens, keep going. If it's don't,
Mm.
analyze why and take a decision. Yes or no. We continue, we don't continue. That can happen, of course. It's part of the business as well. Um, but that is, and the other thing that I'm doing more like in the contents that I create sometimes is to try to ask people to be more specific with what they are talking about when they say impact. Let's don't
Mhm.
talk about impact because it's nice or because it's politicians are using the word or some I don't know like fake startups or fake entrepreneurs saying that they do impact. Let's be honest, to create impact, it's very difficult. It's not something easy to happen. To really change the needle in areas that are like climate, I mean, like climate solutions or social things, it's not that easy. So I expect the trending that the industry push a little bit harder in terms of the question. Oh, you are creating impact? Good for you. That's great. Please, in what? How? Give me some numbers. How do you get to that number? I'm expecting to be more professional in the industry, not to be like the Grinch, in terms of don't even try to do things because obviously that's not the idea. But I would say now the industry it's going like a step further in terms of more accurate questions to see if you're really doing the impact that you say you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. There are companies failing really in making that impact, and it's only a word taken very lightly. So yes, and you were talking about failures, and even well, as maybe you may think as well as me that when you fail, you learn, and it's something that could be a good thing. So in that matter, what is the biggest failure or challenge you have faced to this point in your life, and how has that shaped the way you do business? Because I think it has shaped you in
Yeah.
a way.
Um, I will say two things in terms of one challenge and one failure. One of the companies that I created too, it was this one with the games that I mentioned you. Um, it was a period that our business model was bad. We did everything in order to try to sell what we were doing, but the market was saying, "We don't like it. I don't know," or maybe no, maybe yes. So it wasn't something that the market really want to. And I guess my failure there was like, dude, how many no's you need to understand that you need to pivot what you're doing? And in that, I wasn't. I think my problem was not being humble. You know, I was like, no, 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 no. I have the best solution ever in the market. They don't even know what they're talking about. I mean, well, this was my approach. Not very humble at all. I was like on the top of the wave. I thought I was like more than 10 years ago. So I was younger, I took things different, and I was thinking like, if they don't get it, it's because, well, they're being too much in the corporate world, they're too fat to understand this, something like that. And that wasn't very appropriate. The problem that wasn't them, maybe a few, but not all of them. The problem that was that the product that we create or the approach we have and the value proposition wasn't good enough. So when we start pivot and then when create these games that I already mentioned, things start to change because they saw value in that and they start paying for that. We start to creating other programs, and that was great. And I would say like in the other hand, a challenge that I feel very proud, and it was one of the most difficult one. It was a crazy time in the pandemic, like for many people in many countries. But I was able in that time to help a public area, specifically in Chile and South America. I helped the Ministry of Social Development and Family to implement something that they call like direct transfers, basically to put money in the bank accounts of the very, very poor people in the country. And it sounds very easy.
Mm.
It sounds like, oh, okay, well, just send money to that people and do it as fast as you can. Yeah, that is very easy. But in the public world, in a developing country, it's not that easy as that. You need to create a strategy in order to do that and identify the people, and also to do it faster because it was the pandemic. People couldn't go out and work and get some money. So,
Mm.
long story short, we were able to start this process. It was a very, very good team that I had. I think that was the key. I had a great team. The team was so good, technically speaking, human speaking. It was a big, complicated time for the country and for the world. And we were able to scale this transfer for the people we started around in January of 2021, around 700 to 800 direct deposit, like direct transfer for the persons. And we finished on September on 9.5 million. So that was, and we were able to do that. I mean, if when you ask for the deposit, you get it like in 2 weeks. Okay, it's not like if you and me go and have a lunch, you say, hey, I owe you $10, Robert. I can sell you, I can send you the money so fast, yeah. But we're talking about the whole country, or well, not the whole country, but more than 9 million people. So it wasn't that easy. And I would say for me, that was a beautiful, beautiful solution that we created with the team. And obviously, it was the most difficult time of my professional life because of the pressure you get when you have that in your hands. It was huge. But I feel very proud of that.
Yeah, always seeing yourself or other people around you grow. It's a great feeling. So, talking about growth, what is the next growth area for you personally and your business?
Yeah,
Those.
that's a good question. I would say there are two areas for me. I want to be able, to guide people on my team in order to to be the better, the better, um, how do you say it? Better self, like the best expression of their self, not just in terms of their work, but also to help them with like, life decisions. You see sometimes that life give you so many opportunities when you're doing something that you love, And I think I was lucky enough to decide that all the professional things that I've been doing in my life, they are driven by impact, They are the first things for me is like, do I really see myself doing this, and the impact that I could create with this will make me happy, or it just will be like you know, I'm
Mm.
gonna I'm gonna like lose my time. I'm gonna give my time away for things that I don't like. Um, but sometimes it's not difficult to decide that, because that comes with sometimes like salary cuts, or with other opportunities that you don't get. But if your life plan, if we can put it in those words, you are like conscious enough to know what to do. You are creating a very nice path for yourself and for you, and that's one of the things that I want to do. The second one is like something that I want to do more, because I haven't do it in a couple of months, but it's to teach. I love to teach. For me, go to
Mm.
university or community college to talk about all of these things of entrepreneurship, innovation, corporate venturing. It is something that I like. I'm about to start a new class, coming soon. So hopefully to share that when it's ready and when it's official. But that is something that I really love, to give tools for new generations in order to success. That's what I love.
Yeah, well, teaching is very satisfactory for a lot of people. No, it's like conveying your expertise, and I think that's something that's an amazing, and that's exactly the lack of teaching or the good education that have. That's the reason why we have most of our global problems, I would say.
I agree. I agree.
So, one of my last questions would be, if you could have lunch with one person, living or dead, who would it be and why?
Wow, that's a difficult question. A very nice one.
Yeah,
Um, can I say two?
you can
Yeah.
say too.
Well, I'm a believer, so of course I would say Jesus Christ. I think it's something that for me is very important in my life and the way I see things and I see the world. And the second
Wow.
one, it would be my grandparents. My grandparents were Greek immigrants, especially my granddad, and I never were able to meet him. He
Mm.
died when my dad was 10 years old. Um, but at the end of the day, all this story of immigration that I have, it's in some way related with his vision, and his
Wow.
courage. So I would love to have a lunch with him and get to know him better.
You answer the question for your granddad of why. Why Jesus Christ?
Oh, why Jesus Christ? Well, for different. Well, let's try to break this down in different areas. Religiously speaking, is because I live my life in terms of with God in the middle of everything. For me, it's something very important, and it gives me a different sense of my life. A different purpose, which is greater than me and for many things. The second thing is like, and in more like in a practical way. For me, always it amazed me how the Bible, all the stories that are in the Bible and everything. It's been in the world for so many, many, many a thousand of years. How could that happen? Especially if they didn't have WhatsApp or email, at that time, or LinkedIn or something like that. So for me, it's so interesting for a very like human perspective. How could that happen? Um, I still don't have the answers, but just for me, it's like wow, it's incredible to know that that happens. That there are so
Yeah.
many stories that you can read on the Bible. even if you are not someone like very religious, sometimes you find stories in the Bible that have like, application in these days. And I think that is wow. It's incredible for me to see that.
Yeah, at the end, you're talking with the man, not with the religion. So the religion came after, right? So really talking to the
Yeah,
source of that religion, I think it's
that's a good
amazing. Yeah,
good way
well,
to put it. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
agree.
good choices.
Well, thank you.
So to end with, what is the best way for people to contact you if they'd like to work with you or discuss referral partnerships?
Oh, perfect. Okay, you can reach me on my LinkedIn. I'm very active there. Also, if looking for some content on corporate innovation and corporate impact venturing, you can follow me on my LinkedIn channel on my YouTube channel, sorry, as well. And my email, it's elias@smirnalabs.com, and you can reach me there too. So no problem with that.
That was terrific. Okay, I enjoyed this conversation with you. Thank you so much for being with me on the podcast. So
Robert, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for your question, and thank you for the all working you are doing with the podcast. I think it's very interesting, and I invite everybody to listen to this because it's a very good material. And thank you for that.
yeah, no, my pleasure. Thank you for joining me on Big Life Weekly series. I hope today's episode gave you the insight, inspiration, and tools you need to move closer to the life you're meant to live. Remember, true success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about how you feel while you achieving it. If you found value in our conversation, please subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with others who are ready to embrace their big life. Until next time, stay focused, keep growing, enjoy life, and break free.